Talking about elected officials with popular support, Barack Obama, president-elect, has remained very silent so far on this issue, although he wasn't silent when the conflict broke out between Russia and Georgia during the campaign. Your name came up in his campaign. You became somebody he had to distance, or he chose to distance himself from. This is a guy with a lot of expectations riding on him and a very tense relationship with the Muslim and Arab world, certainly in the United States. What are you expecting from Barack Obama, and what would you like to see or hear?
Well, it's clear to me that Israel has basically given him the finger here. What the Israeli government has done in taking advantage of the last days of indulgence of the Bush administration is to face the new Obama administration with a fait accompli. They said they wanted to come in and do peacemaking. This has been made much more difficult. They've said they want to talk to other forces like Iran and so forth. This is being made impossible by the demonization of Hamas. The only great lesson that Israel learned from the 2006 war was that they had to control information, and they've done that brilliantly during this campaign. I mean, they deserve an absolute gold star for keeping journalists out of Gaza, imposing on them basically reportage from the Israeli side, and organizing their message such that absolutely everybody is reading from the same page. I mean, you see, I saw the confidential talking points distributed by the Israel Project here. Same talking points were distributed in Britain, and they're exactly what Mark Regev and exactly what Michael Oren and exactly what, what's her name, Avital, the spokesman, they say exactly the same thing.
So if the Israelis are if the Israelis are managing messaging very well,
they are.
You have to say Barack Obama is doing as well. What can you tell us, and this may be the first many people have heard from you as somebody who knows him, about where you think his agenda is in this and where his tendencies are?
I have absolutely no insight here. I mean, I can only tell you that he's been faced with a situation by the Israelis which is not going to be easy for the people he chooses to deal with this. He understands perfectly well, better than most Americans, how America's image in the world is shaped. I mean, he's lived in the world more than most Americans have, even if his life abroad was when he was young. And he has met family from abroad. He has sisters, both of whom are have lived most of their lives in foreign countries. He has members of his family in Kenya, Indonesia, and so forth. So he understands how America's image is shaped in the world. He understands how Americans are seen and why America is seen as it's seen. And he understands perfectly well that what Israel is doing is making the task that he set for himself of improving the United States' image in the Muslim world infinitely difficult, if not impossible. I have no idea how he's going to deal with this. He may decide, well, I'm just going to pack it in. There's nothing for me here. I have to deal with the economy. I have no idea. I really don't know how he will deal with this.
He does have some familiar faces on this issue in his circle. Dennis Ross was one of his advisors during the campaign. Hillary Clinton is his incoming Secretary of State, assuming she's confirmed. Worrisome to those of us who are looking for something new in the way of U.S. policy for the region.
I'm very concerned about some of the people whose names have been bruited about as possible people under Secretary Clinton and General Jones, the National Security Advisor. I think people, in the case of Dennis Ross, in the case of some of the other names that we've heard, people who, as you say, have served as advisors either to the Clinton campaign or to the Obama campaign, or in a couple of cases to both during the campaign, and who were intimately involved with the Clinton administration and in some cases with the Bush and Reagan administrations before them, and who played a major role in shaping the catastrophic situation that we face in the Middle East today. People like Dennis Ross actually helped to create this mess that we're in, a situation where Israeli occupation has been strengthened over the past 18 years of negotiation, where the settler population has more than doubled over the past 18 years, where Palestinian independence is much further away. They created, they shaped, they were the architects of this. The idea that such people will be back in other jobs in a new administration is enough to make me blanch. It would be a catastrophic mistake to appoint some of these people. There are other people who've served in previous administrations who might well, under the firm hand of a president who had a clear vision, not do a great deal of damage or even do some benefit. But there are some people who I think would be very, very harmful if they were appointed.
Do you carry any ill feelings for the way you were treated during this campaign?
Well, I think that the way the Republican Party behaved was disgraceful. I think that they descended to a new low, which is quite difficult to do given the Lee Atwater tradition in which the Republican Party has basked for decades, the racist Southern strategy and the McCarthyite name-calling, which has been a feature of Republican politics for so long. So I do bear ill will towards them. I bear a great deal of ill will towards those of the media, in particular the wholly owned subsidiary of the right wing of the Republican Party, Fox News, that played the role of attack dog. And obviously, what can one say about the websites and so forth that peddled these ridiculous claims about me? But one doesn't expect anything else from them. It was not a pleasant experience, let's just put it that way.
It would have been nice to be defended by a few Democrats, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange that the only person who raised his head above the parapet was Colin Powell. Not one single person, not a person in the Obama campaign at any stage said, so what if so-and-so is a Palestinian, or so what if so-and-so is a Muslim? I mean, what's so bad about being a Muslim? The candidate is not a Muslim, is not and never was a Muslim, but what would be wrong with it? Not one person had the courage to stand up and say that. I thought it was disgraceful, frankly.
Maybe it's not entirely unrelated to the kind of coverage we're getting right now of what's happening in the Middle East. Thanks so much. Rashid Khalidi is Edward Said Professor of Arab Studies at Columbia University and the author of The Iron Cage, the story of the Palestinian struggle for statehood. There's a link to Rashid's book at our website. Thanks for joining us. We're going to continue.
You might mention that I have a new book coming out in a month entitled Sowing Crisis, American Dominance in the Cold War in the Middle East.
All right. Professor Khalidi has a new book coming out in the next month. We'll give you all the information about that at our site too. Thanks so much.